It was always the same for her when she arrived to meet the body. After she unbuckled her seatbelt, after she pulled a stick pen from the rubber band on the sun visor, after her long fingers brushed her hip to feel the comfort of her service piece, what she always did was pause. Not long, just the length of a slow, deep breath. That's all it took for her to remember the one thing she will never forget. Another body waited. She drew the breath, and when she could feel the raw edges of the hole that had been blown in her life, Detective Nikki Heat was ready. She opened the car door and went to work. The wallop of 100 degrees almost shoved her back in the car. New York was a furnace, and the soft pavement on West 77th gave under her feet like she was walking on wet sand. Heat could have made it easier on herself by parking closer, but this was another of her rituals. The walk-up. Every crime scene was a flavor of chaos, and these 200 feet afforded the detective her only chance to fill the clean slate with her own impressions. Thanks to the afternoon swelter, the sidewalk was nearly empty. The neighborhood lunch rush was over, and tourists were either across the street cooling in the American Museum of Natural History, or seeking refuge in a Starbucks over iced drinks ending in vowels. Her disdain for coffee drinkers dissolved into a mental note to get one herself on the way back to the precinct. Ahead, she clocked a doorman at the apartment building just her side of the barrier tape that encircled the sidewalk cafe. His hat was off, and he was sitting on the worn marble steps with his head between his knees. She looked up at the hunter green canopy as she passed him and read the building name. The Guilford. Did she know the uniform, flashing her the smile? She rapid-fired a slideshow of faces, but stopped when she realized he was just checking her out. Detective Heat smiled back and parted her linen blazer to give him something else to fantasize about. His face rearranged itself when he saw the shield on her waistband. The young cop lifted the yellow tape for her to duck under, and when she came up, she caught him giving her the sex ray again, so she couldn't resist. "Make you a deal," she said. "I'll watch my ass. You watch the crowd." Detective Nikki Heat entered her crime scene past the vacant hostess podium on the sidewalk cafe. All of the tables at La Chaleur Belle were empty except one, where Detective Rayleigh of her squad sat with a distraught family with sunburned faces struggling to translate German into a statement. Their uneaten lunch swarmed with flies. Sparrows, avid outdoor diners themselves, perched on seat backs and made bold dives for palm fruit. At the service door, Detective Ochoa looked up from his notebook and quick-nodded her while he questioned the busboy in a white apron flecked with blood. The rest of the serving staff was inside at the bar, having a drink after what they had witnessed. Heat looked over to where the medical examiner knelt, and couldn't blame them one bit. "Male, unknown, no wallet, no identification. Preliminary age range 60 to 65. Severe blunt force trauma to the head, neck, and chest." Lauren Perry's gloved hand peeled back the sheet for her friend Nikki to have a look at the corpse on the sidewalk. The detective glanced and quickly looked away. "No face, so we'll comb the area for any dental. Otherwise, not much to ID from after that impact. Is this where he landed?" "There." The ME indicated the cafe busing station a few feet away. It had caved in from the top so hard it was split in half. The violent splash of ice and blood had already baked into the sidewalk in the minutes since the fall. As Heat stepped over there, she noticed that the cafe umbrellas and the stone walls of the building also wore dried blood, ice spatter, and bits of tissue. She got as close to the wreckage as she dared without contaminating the scene and looked straight up. "It's raining men!" Nikki Heat didn't even turn. She just sighed his name. Ruck. Hallelujah. He held on to his smile until she finally looked at him, shaking her head. "What?" "It's okay. I don't think he can hear me." She wondered what sort of karma payback it was for her to be saddled with this guy. It wasn't the first time that month she had wondered it either. The job was hard enough if you were doing it right. Add a reporter with a mouth playing make-believe cop, and your day just got a little longer. She backed up to the long flower boxes that defined the perimeter of the outdoor cafe and looked up again. Rook moved with her. I would have been here sooner, except somebody didn't call me. If I hadn't phoned Ochoa, I would have missed this. It's just tragedy upon tragedy, isn't it? You wound me with your sarcasm. Look, I can't research my article on New York's finest without access, and my deal with the commissioner specifically states, trust me, I know your deal. I've been living day and night. You get to observe on all my homicides just like real-life detectives who work for a living. So you forgot. I accept your apology. I didn't forget, and I didn't hear an apology. At least, not for me. I kind of inferred it. You radiate subtext. Someday, you're going to tell me what favor you did for the mayor to get this ride-along pushed through. Sorry, Detective Heat. I'm a reporter, and that is strictly off the record. Did you kill a story that made him look bad? Yes. God, you make me feel cheap. But you'll get nothing more. Detective Ochoa wrapped his busboy interview, and Heat beckoned him over. I passed the doorman for this building who looked like he was having a very bad day. Go check him out, see if he knows anything about our dough. When she turned back, Rook had curled his hands to form skin binoculars and was sighting up the building overlooking the cafe. I call the balcony on 6. When you write your magazine article, you can make it any floor you like, Mr. Rook. Isn't that what you reporters do? Speculate? Before he could reply, she held her forefinger to his lips. But we're not celebrity journalists here. We're just the police. And darn it, we have these pesky things called facts to dig up and events to verify. And while I try to do my job, would it be too much to ask that you maintain a little decorum? Sure. No problem. Thank you. Jameson? Jameson Rook? Thank you for watching me read the beginning of the first chapter of Heatwave by Richard Castle. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you'd like to hear me read in more random voices. If you have any critiques, leave them in the comments below, unless they're telling me that Richard Castle isn't a real person, because, what? No way. Really? Share this video with your friends, and watch the Captain America video if you haven't already. Writer, out!